Hello there. In the series, How to Conduct a Political Analysis of Your Projects, Programs, and Initiatives, this is the 6th episode. The first episode was an introduction, the second episode covered the basics, what politics is. In the third episode, I covered the player's paradigm. In the fourth episode, I gave you a metaphor of a duel in the context of stakeholder interactions. In the last episode, I talked about the power and influence grid. Let's talk about a similar tool. The influence and impact grid. As always, leaving a like and sharing is a free way to support my work. Let's get right into it. First, a short recap of the stakeholders analysis. To me, the only basis of doing the stakeholder analysis is to understand their importance to the project, so that you can know why they are important for your success. Moreover, you have to understand what is important to them. This leads to prioritization. Consequently, you are successful in delivering the desired outcome. Of course, if you identify that a stakeholder has more interests in the selfish personal gains than the successful completion of the initiative. As a project manager, your job is to strike a balance. Let's now discuss the second tool in your toolbox, the influence and impact grid. In a way, it is identical to the first tool, the power and influence grid, using which we had analyzed stakeholders for their power and influence in the initiative. In this tool as well, there are 4 distinct quadrants to map the stakeholders. We analyze them for their influence and impact. They are rated from low to high for their influence and ability to impact the outcome. Influence measures their active involvement and the magnitude of effect on the outcome. They can persuade others in decision-making and to enforce the decisions. We map it vertically from low to high. Impact measures their ability to bring about a change and transformation. It is mapped horizontally, also from low to high. In this tool, the stakeholders are classified into 4 categories based on their influence and their ability to impact. High influence and high impact. High influence and low impact. Low influence and high impact. And the last but not least is low influence and low impact. Yes, in this tool too, you do not intend to exclude any of the stakeholders. However, prioritization is a must to deliver an acceptable outcome. The unique benefit of the influence and impact grid is that it will help you find those who can bring about a change and transformation on the ground. Those who can push things. In episode 4, I discussed the player's paradigm. In episode 5, the power and influence grid was utilized, keeping this paradigm in perspective. The influence and impact grid is also utilized with a similar approach. Let's now briefly see the stakeholder mapping in the context of politics in projects, programs, and initiatives. If you followed this series up to now, you are fully aware that we are considering the self-interest of stakeholders while we equip ourselves to handle the politics and the political influences. If you have not watched the previous episodes, please watch the complete series. Otherwise, one episode on its own will not make sense at all. So far we have used 2 tools: the power and influence grid, and the influence and impact grid, to map the stakeholders for their power, influence, and impact on the initiative. Being someone who is in the lead and who is responsible for delivering the outcome, you're already aware of the goals and objectives of the initiative. Therefore, keeping goals and objectives in mind, and with the perspective that stakeholders are likely to be self-interest driven, you have to identify the adversaries and advocates, allies and opponents, friends and enemies, those who are your support, and those who are not. As always, remember that these tools are not most likely to be formal deliverables. They are just tools in your toolbox. You may not need elaborated documents to use these tools. Just use them to do your homework as you begin to develop deeper insights into your environment. Please don't get lost in the details, as you may lose your perspective. although you may do this assessment once or twice. Any changes in the staff or organizational strategic focus may trigger a reassessment. With this, we have reached the end of this episode. The description box below contains links to all of the previous episodes. I hope it will help you build allies, friends, and advocates amongst those who are actively involved, and who also carry the ability to bring about change on the ground. Liking, subscribing, and sharing is a free way to support my work. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. In the next episode, I will cover one more tool which helps develop a better understanding of your stakeholders. See you in the next episode.